Today, I'm going to show you how you can stop procrastinating and get more done. What's going on, everybody? It's Jason Talley. Have you ever had the feeling that you've got so much to do that you're just gonna take a nap? Yeah, me too. And I've actually done that several times. And usually when this happens, we put stuff off and off and off until it either doesn't get done or we guilt ourselves into doing it because it just can't get put off any longer. People who do this will sometimes openly identify as procrastinators. Here's the thing. To stop procrastinating, the first thing you have to do is stop identifying as a person who procrastinates. Even if you still put things off actively, you've got to know that procrastination is not who you are, and it's not a part of who you are. It's a habit, one that can be broken when you recognize that that's what it is. Habits are so interesting to me. Here's a little bit about how they work. You have a trigger, you have a response, and you have a reward. Think about any habit that you have. There's always a trigger. There's always this moment where you know that this is going to be the thing that you want. And it's usually based off of whatever the reward is. I want this, so therefore I'm going to do this. For example, hopefully you have the habit of brushing your teeth before you go to bed. The trigger might be when you start to turn out the lights and get ready for bed. The trigger hits because the reward is going to bed with clean teeth and a fresh mouth. The habit, the thing in the middle, the response, is brushing your teeth. One personal example for me is that I always want a piece of chocolate after a meal. It doesn't really matter what kind of food it is, I crave chocolate right after eating. So if given the option, I'll take it almost every single time. The trigger is when I'm done eating. The reward is the sweet satisfaction of the chocolate. The habit, or the process that I do in the middle, is eating the chocolate. Now, just like habits are formed, they can also be broken. And you don't break habits by changing the trigger, because you'll always get ready for bed, as our first example says, and you'll always be finishing a meal, kind of like my chocolate example. So you can't change that, but it's changed by changing the reward here at the end. So for me personally, instead of chocolate, I try to drink a glass of water after a meal. And that takes the desire for the sweetness away. It takes away this, if I give it a different reward, when I get that trigger to eat chocolate because I'm done eating my regular meal, I'm gonna change this reward from the sweetness to the cleanness. So then my response is going to be drinking water as opposed to eating a piece of chocolate. So all of this to say, procrastination, my friends, is a habit. Do you want to guess what the trigger is? Do you want to guess what the trigger for procrastination is? Stress. When you are under large amounts of stress, maybe a tragedy just happened in your family or in your life, you've got a big project for work or school that you're working on, or you might even have some health issues or know someone who does that you're dealing with. When stress happens, it becomes a trigger in our brain that we want the reward of relief. And so the way that we give ourselves that reward is the response or the habit of procrastination. We put things off that might add to the stress for the reward of momentary relief. So how do we fix this? How do we go about changing this? Well, it's the same way you would any other habit. You change the reward. So instead of looking at this temporary relief as the reward, you look at an empty to-do list as the reward. And you also have to get out of the emotional side of your brain and get into the logical side. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever cleaned something or started to clean something and then you end up cleaning everything? You never really meant to do that, but you did. Maybe it started with dusting a table and then you end up cleaning your whole house. When you keep putting something off, you have to trick your brain into doing it just by doing something. Just do something. So when you are under a lot of stress and your immediate go-to reaction is to not do anything. Just do something. I promise, if you will give this a try the next time that you find yourself putting stuff off, you're going to be surprised at how quickly you can change the habit of procrastination in your life. You'll find yourself getting a lot more done and putting a lot less off. Listen, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. And until next time, we'll see you.